startup ecosystem, what the idea is that you have to learn how to pitch your idea clearly and concisely. And once you learn how to do that, then you can bring in all the stakeholders and you can get into programs that'll help you and train you on how to build it. But that first step is you have to design a business model that is desirable.
When I initially moved back to Pensacola, I had a meeting with Lloyd. Lloyd invited me for breakfast, and I was telling him, man, I still have an idea for the entertainment industry. This is what I wanted to do. He was like, all right, I got Startup on the Blocks. So I need you to start coming to Startup on the Blocks and get a little more information on how to work through the tech ecosystem and take your idea and we'll get you where you need to go. My company is called The Know, is an app that is streamlining business for the entertainment industry. Yeah, so if you're a musician, what you would do is pretty much jump on the platform, you'll create a profile, but the way we created the profile is pretty much a cleaner way. So now if they want more information about you, you'll connect your social media platforms, your streaming platforms, and that way they can go directly to it. What we also have included is your calendar. So pretty much you can set your days, you can set your price for your days and automate your booking. So initially talking to Lloyd, my idea was all here, it was there, it was over here, it was over there. It was like, all right, Quinn, I get it. You got a lot that you want to do, but we need you to bring it in just a little bit and then work on your pitch, your story, and how you're going to bring it full circle to get people to understand what you're trying to create.
Most of the programs here wasn't inclusive, and so we said we'll focus on helping founders of color. We also start at the beginning of the thing, at the idea stage, whereas a lot of the programs you see here locally, they start after you're up, and that's not very efficient unless if you don't have a lot of money, you can't recover from your mistakes. And the lean startup system, it actually helps you make mistakes faster before you spend a lot of money. You don't actually start building anything until you got customer buy-in.
There was a need for small businesses to bring brand awareness to their business. I see there's a lot of makers and bakers that they're making all of these goodies and these products, but they can't market it, they can't sell it at the same time, and there needs to be kind of like that middleman, that middle person to help bring economic growth to some of the small businesses in Pensacola. So Taste of Pensacola, I came up with that idea during the pandemic when I saw things at that time that Amazon couldn't fulfill. They didn't even have those products, but the local people in the community, they did. And so there was a ton of people coming out saying, hey, I make masks. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. All the local people here that are just as talented that can actually make those products. And so I wanted to kind of showcase who they were. So with Taste of Pensacola, our income streams, we have several of them. We have the corporate America, we do corporate gifting, just regular consumers, different Pensacola natives that don't live here that want to purchase our boxes, like a taste of weddings, distribution. So we also do bulk sales. So for a private airline, if they want some local snacks and goodies on their passenger flights, they will come to Taste of Pensacola and we will source their vendors here locally. And we'll give a small business owner an opportunity to have reoccurring monthly sales. I've always had a really big vision for Taste of Pensacola. I knew that it could go beyond just local. I know that maybe other communities could possibly use the same platform that I'm trying to build. And I always have these big visions, but I never know how to even get there. Where do I start? I know it's more than, there's a lot of technical things behind it. I know there's a lot of research, but that connection, I never had it until, thankfully, I met and was introduced to Startups on the Blocks and was able to just learn more about how to grow it in terms of data. Things I just never thought about, framework, words like traction. There's a lot of things that I just did not know about and language that I need to know in order to get funding for my business. There's just a lot that I didn't know.
I would go to the stores and look online. They didn't have a wide variety of natural hair products about 8 years ago. And the ones that they did have, the ingredients, it would say that they were all natural. And when I would research the ingredients, a lot of the ingredients were not natural. I make everything, my shampoo, conditioner, I have an oil that I make, and I have 2 different separate butters. Like I had some people who were completely bald and grew their hair. It's about giving women their confidence back in their hair. I have this salon and then I have a second salon, and I have my products in about 5 beauty supply stores. So I need a manufacturer to keep up with the demand at this point. Startup on the Blocks has helped my business grow. Send me to different people. I'm able to do different pitch competitions to apply for grants in the community for small businesses. Lloyd's a really good person to connect with. He has a lot of resources here in the community that can help small businesses grow. If you have a product out there and you're trying to go big time, he's the person that you would want to meet with.
So it's really important to have some type of support because 9 times out of 10, most founders start out on their own. And to have somebody that has an idea of how the ecosystem works and is able to tap into other resources and bring back to the community, and that pretty much has encountered some of the roadblocks or going through the same roadblocks that we're currently going through and understands where you're at, your culture and how you respond to things, is a big help because you don't really have too many people that have access to what we have access to here in the community. And a lot of people believe that you have to leave and go to bigger cities to do the things that we're doing here. But I mean, it's one thing to have exposure, but you have to actually know it's here in the community in order to take advantage of the resources. So I get approached and I talk to friends all the time that wants to either start an idea or hear that I'm actually doing the app and wants to know more information about how are you doing it or what's the process, what's the path. I'm like, man, we have somebody here, Startup on the Blocks, Lloyd Richard. And Lloyd is here, he's a great resource to the community and to founders that's trying to learn the ecosystem. So join Startup on the Blocks.
Yes, join Startup on the Blocks. How's everybody out there in startup land? Glad to be here tonight, and we're wrapping up February, Black History Month. So tonight I thought I would share a prompt that I used to research history and extract the patterns, et cetera, et cetera. I'll tell you a little bit more about that as we go along. But I love, researching history, not just Black history, and just getting the patterns and learning from history. So, but this is also tonight. It's going to be about understanding how to prompt, and so you'll get a better feel for how to leverage the large language models a lot better. This is all part of our Founders Insight program to kind of help founders get insight on while they're building their startup and learn so they can move forward a lot faster. Everything's about how fast you can learn now. And so we all need to know how to use the large language models to kind of help us move forward and making sure we're not jumping to build something before we validate that there's demand for it. And so most of this month, we've had some interesting guests on like Jermaine. He's has some feelings about large language models, and he was saying he doesn't really use a lot of stuff like ChatGPT and Gemini and all the rest of them because they kind of tell you what you want to hear. So he wants the hard, honest truth about what he's prompting about, and get the negative feedback and not just sugarcoating everything. And so the historical HPE historical pattern engine, it actually turns it makes sure you're getting some validated information and not just the large language models telling you what you want to hear. So let's add this to the stage here. So from Black history to founder strategy. So when I first created this research approach, I was mainly doing it because the Kokor Institute is all about taking history and bringing it to life through arts, AI, robotics, virtual reality, you name it. We try to bring it to life so people can actually learn from history and don't repeat some of the same mistakes that were made, and learn some winning patterns as well. And little did I know that this same process applies to all the stuff you do in your in your startup, because you do a lot of things in your business and then you forget about them. And so there's a version of this prompt that actually helps you not forget stuff you've already learned in your business. So that was a nice benefit from it as well. So this month has been really crazy, really busy, a lot of Black History events, and it's just amazing all the activities that people are making and organizations are making a great effort to make sure we know about our history. And I think about a couple of years, I guess back when George Floyd was murdered, it made me want to dig a little deeper into history. And then, I started noticing, some of the same patterns that occurred in history are reappearing now. And so I started trying to figure out why, what was driving these patterns, and not just taking them for granted. So it helped me out quite a bit. And so that's what tonight is all about. And I'll repeat again, hopefully the prompt will help you, do history, learn how to do history like a historian. And, but also it'll help you understand how to use the large language models to your benefit and not just be thinking you're getting something. Last week we had Ray on, and he, had some really good approaches that he used with the AI and leveraging those and to kind of grow his business. So we want all founders to understand how to use the AI correctly with their startup. So let's keep the ball rolling. Let me get a shout out to our partners and people we partnered with in the past and currently partner that we use them to kind of help us move forward. And today, we're here because of these sponsors who put up funds to kind of support what we're doing, so you can learn as a founder. These are some of our mentors. We have some. Most of these are level 1 certified coaches, and 3 of us have a level 3 Lean Stack certification. These are the trainings we're involved in, and we primarily focus on the Lean Stack and the startup science. So we try to make those resources available to everyone. So if you're working on a startup tonight, don't hesitate to ask a question. That's what we're here for. Yeah, and so the ecosystem, startup ecosystem, is this whole bundle of resources and help if you're working on a scalable idea or trying to solve a big problem. But the challenge is if you don't know this ecosystem exists, you can't take advantage of it. And a lot of people are losing out because they're not taking advantage of the ecosystem. I was on a call with a gentleman this week. He's in 2 programs, and one program is helping him with a 50,000 square foot manufacturing facility, and another program is helping with something else. So these are just kind of excellent resources that are out there, but you have to know how to pitch, how you make money with your business model. You're pitching what you're building, not what you have. So these are not established businesses. These are businesses that are in the development stage, creating new products and services. And so you can actually take advantage of some of these resources. And that's what we're here for, to help you understand the whole process. And the bottom line, that there is a process, and it's documented in the Lean Stack platform, but it's the Lean Startup methodology. And so it's a continuous innovation process. Yeah, and so I keep showing these charts, and just so you know, the Startup Commons that made this chart, they put out a global ecosystem report, so that you can the global startup ecosystem, and so you can learn what's going on all over the world in these startup ecosystem. And they literally put how much money each founder gets in these different cities, to actually help them build their startup. So all over the world, and the ecosystem starts when you're just at the idea stage, not after you're up and running. But it goes through all these phases that you're doing. And so if you don't have access to our startup science platform, it takes you through the operational phases of your business and helps you understand what to do at what phase. So definitely take advantage of that. And our bread and butter is the lean stack, and this is just kind of what we call a traction roadmap. So when you get in the program, you actually get a roadmap, what you need to do each month to grow your business, whether you're starting from an idea or whether you have an existing business already making money, or whether you just create a new product from an existing business. All these things are there to help you and support you. But they can't help you if you don't know about them. You can't take advantage of it if you don't know about them. And that's what we're here for. And this is kind of a straightforward process. Most people heard about trying to find a target market. If you think of these roles as customer segments for your business, who you're selling to, and you want to find which customers that's going to give you the most traction the fastest. And that's what the lean stack process takes you through. We have a 27-step process that takes you through all this, a prompt, and that actually simulates going through this process and so forth. Looks like it's paralleling the actual, work when you go through it manually. So that's the good deal there. So the first thing I want to cover is just take a pictorial view of the historical pattern engine, the part that does the research, and so this will give you kind of the idea, and I'll show you a video that explains this in a minute here as well. But if you look over in the lower right-hand corner, it basically shows you traditional historians. It's this first column, and then when people prompt with AI to do research, if there's no bounds on it, the AI is literally gonna tell them what they want to hear. But we in this third column, we literally automate what a researcher does. And so I started off with this where, I was doing research all the time, and then I would try to fact check that. But then I finally realized AI can act like any person or anybody. So I said to have it act like a historian and follow the same process that a historian would follow. And so, the result was this historical pattern engine. And when I first created it, it was just so you could actually, if you had a document, and I actually got sent a document from a graduate student at University of Florida, and they wanted my wife and I to evaluate it because it had to do with the Green Book here, and kind of validate it for the stuff that was going on over here in Northwest Florida with the Green Book. And so I say that's neat. So silly me, I dumped the notebook, the document in the notebook LM, and let it explain to me what was going on, with explainer video overview, infographic, a podcast where I could ask it questions and get answers back real time, vocally. And so it was pretty interesting to see. And so there's a version of this HPE that you can actually feed documents into it. But me, I'm lazy. I want the second version. I say, you go out and do the research and validate the research like a historian would, and take it through all these processes and come at the end with a nice narrative. So this is the kind of initial version, and it just goes through these processes that you see here. And so I'm going to show you a video that actually explains it in detail, and don't hesitate to ask questions. And I will share the prompt with you. The version that I thought I had ready to prepare, it's not there, but I'll get it together and so I can share it with you. So and what you can use the prompt for is, if you got an idea or you want to know something about some Black history fact or something, you just run the prompt, say, please run this HPE engine and do the research on the whole green book, all over the South. Or you might want to do the research on the history of entrepreneurship in your city, the history of Black entrepreneur in your city. It doesn't really matter what the research topic is. It's just a way to make sure you got validated sources. So let me get the video going, and feel free to put in the chat if you have any questions.
Today, we're diving into a really fascinating concept, an architecture for thinking. It's called the Historical Pattern Engine, or HPE for short. And yeah, it was designed to solve a really fundamental problem with AI and history. But as we're about to see, its true purpose, well, it goes way, way beyond that. So it all kicks off with this massive problem. You know the large language models we use every day? They are amazing storytellers. I mean, they can spin up these incredibly fluent, coherent narratives about the past in seconds. But here's the catch. They work on what's plausible, not necessarily what's true. They're built for synthesis, not for validation, and that creates a real crisis of certainty. This slide just lays it out perfectly, right? On one side, you've got generative AI. Its goal is a good story, something that sounds right. On the other side, you have actual historical rigor, which only cares about verifiable, evidence-based truth. And that difference leads to the single biggest risk with AI today: confident hallucinations. That's when the machine just makes stuff up, but says it with absolute authority. Real historical work would much rather say, hey, we don't know, than fill in the blanks with fiction. Okay, so to combat this exact problem, a pretty radical solution was born: the Historical Pattern Engine. The whole point of the HPE isn't to write a better story, it's engineered from the ground up to create certainty. This right here is the system's constitution. It's a simple idea, but it's incredibly profound because it completely flips how AI normally works on its head. Instead of just jumping to a conclusion, the HPE forces this slow, deliberate process. First, you find the evidence. Then, and only after that evidence is validated and structured, can you even start to think about what the story might be. And this is how it enforces that rule. The HPE is what you'd call a slow-thinking architecture. It's made of 6 totally distinct agents, and each one has a very specific, lockdown job to do. Information has to pass through each stage in order before it can ever get to the next. No skipping ahead, no shortcuts. And this just brilliantly shows you how rigid the system is. Just look at Agent 0, the validator. Its authority is absolute override. It's basically the supreme court of the whole system. If a piece of info can't be validated by at least 3 independent sources, Agent 0 just kills it. Done. It never, ever makes it to Agent 1. This hierarchy makes those premature leaps of logic literally impossible. But, version 1 wasn't perfect. It had a critical flaw. It was an incredible auditor. You could feed it any sources, and it would analyze them with incredible rigor. But it was totally passive. It couldn't go out and find new information on its own. It just had to sit there and wait to be fed. And that, of course, brings us to its first huge evolution: the HPE Research Edition, or HPE-R, which was built specifically to solve that problem. The change here is just fundamental. The system transforms from a passive auditor that just checks your work into an active investigator that goes out and gathers its own intel. It's not just a gatekeeper anymore, it's a detective now. And this is all possible because of a new super agent, R0. It works like this tireless team of brilliant research assistants. It actively digs for primary documents, academic journals, and this is so crucial, it looks for counter-narratives, the dissenting opinions. And for every single source it finds, it creates a registry, tracking potential bias, who's funding it, and how credible it is. Which leads to the really obvious question, right?
This is an incredibly complex, super rigorous system. Why would anyone go to all this trouble just to study the past? And this is where the whole thing takes a sharp turn, revealing what the system is really all about.
Because you see, the HPE was never really just about history. History is the raw material, sure, but the actual goal is something much more immediate, much more practical: making better decisions right now. This quote is everything. The HPE isn't just some fancy way to write a prompt for an AI. It's an epistemic system, which is just a formal way of saying it's a structured, repeatable, and transparent way of knowing something. It's about building a formal process for high-quality thinking itself.
And there it is. This is the system's true purpose. It's a decision shield. It's designed to protect us from our own worst cognitive habits. Confirmation bias, emotional reasoning, our tendency to fall for a really good story. By doing that, it helps us make fewer mistakes in really complex situations.
So its core job is to act as an epistemic firewall. Think about it like a network firewall that protects your computer from viruses and malware. Well, this system protects your thinking from bad information, from ideological spin, and from that dangerous rush to feel certain before you've actually done the work.
So that brings us to the ultimate evolution of this whole concept. A system that doesn't just research the past, but actively learns from the present to create a living, breathing intelligence system.
The hybrid HPE or HPE-H is a total game changer because it's not linear anymore, it's cyclical. It creates this continuous feedback loop between doing the research and taking action. The research informs your strategy, and then your actions generate new data that refines the research. It's constantly learning.
So here's how it works. First, the research engine identifies these validated recurring patterns from the past and the present. These patterns are then used to come up with potential strategies and actions you could actually take today. But you don't just blindly go out and implement those strategies. No, the system helps you design actual, real-world experiments to test them out. And each experiment has clear, measurable ways to define success, so you know for sure if what you're doing is actually working. And this is what closes the loop. The results from those experiments, all the successes and all the failures, they get fed right back into the system. This new data updates the confidence score for the original pattern it found. The system literally learns and corrects itself over time.
This quote just nails the ambition of this whole thing. Look, a simple tool for research and a simple tool for strategy, yeah, they can exist separately, no problem. But if what you're trying to build is a core operating system for an entire institution's intelligence, a way for a whole organization to think and learn together, then that hybrid feedback loop is absolutely everything. And that really leaves us with this final, powerful question to chew on. The HPE proposes a world where our most critical choices in business, in policy, in our own lives are guided less by gut feelings or who tells the most compelling story, and more by a transparent, self-correcting, and validated architecture for thinking. What would a world like that even look like?
Yes. Do you have any ideas on how you would use the HPE for what would you use it for Black history, or what would you use it for, just subject in general? Just if you would share those in the comments, that would be neat. Yeah. So, like I said, I've did a lot of prompts, for history. So what would you do? Would you do history, or would you do a subject that you're interested in? Like, what's the history of quilting? What's the history of whatever? How would you use it? I guess is what my point is. Yeah. So if you have any comments on that, or just what do you think about having a tool like the HPE, to be certain about what you're getting back from the large language model? Yes. What would you? How would you use it? Any feedback, anybody? Would love to hear. Okay. Alrighty. So, but that's really what the idea is, and what I propose a lot of folks don't understand, may not really see the patterns and what's going on uh, with all this trying to get rid of anything that has to do with equity, diversity, or inclusion. It's if you do the research, you'll see it's a recurring pattern, and so that's what I suggest. That's if you really want information, like so in society, if you don't have a playbook for how to respond to what's going on, currently or at any time, you're just going to be a victim of what's happening. So you have to have a playbook, and the way to the way to get the playbook is to kind of know what the people did during the different times in history to kind of move forward, and how did that translate with the current economy? What can you do now? What tools do you have now? And like last week, the week before, we did the topic on what the founders, what playbook are you using? Are you using a playbook from the 1990s? Or are you using one from the 2000s to 2010s? Or are you using the current startup founder playbook? And so this is just a tool to speed up what you're doing. And I haven't used HPE for this, but what I have used, most of every prompt, all the prompts I do, I always dump the results in the Notebook LMs to make sure I don't miss anything. And all the prompts I do, I analyze the results for the prompts. So if I have a series of chats about a certain subject, like even today, preparing for this, the HP, talking about the HPE today, I did several prompts about the HPE and about the different version of it. And so I immediately, after I got through that thread, I said, please run my Lenitra verbose prompt against the chat thread, so I can be critical about what the results of the prompts. I don't just take the results as face value. I analyze the results to make sure I understand, how valid they are or how good they are. And so that's kind of what my approach is. So has anybody out there ever did leverage AI to understand their ancestry? That's another idea, surprising idea, is to how can AI help you understand your ancestry? And so I've did stuff like that as well. I've used we're down here in the Belmont Villas neighborhood in Pensacola's historic Black neighborhood, and so I use the same prompt, research the history of the neighborhood. I used the same prompt to research the history of entrepreneurship here in Pensacola, and that was really interesting to kind of to see that. So yeah, so you can use it for a lot of different things. I had to write a newspaper opinion article about entrepreneurship here in Pensacola, and I leverage this tool to help me do that as well. So yeah, it's just an amazing tool that that's can be useful in a lot of ways. Okay, well, the next version of the prompt is a version for founders and your startup or your business. You can use this same tool in a more strategic way. And I'll let me pull that one up here. And so this one is a little more. It's basically taking these same principles and applying them to your company. So I need my glasses on here. Let me. So I hope you can see that pretty well, but I need to pull it up on my. Let's see. This one I have is the strategic one. Let me pull it up so I can actually read what we got here. Yeah, so if you look in the lower left-hand corner, it's talking about the foundational tier, the comparative tier, and the translational tier, and that's the first column. And the mandate is validation, identifying the pattern, and the strategic actions. I like that. And so when you look at this foundation tier, it says non-negotiable restrictions, no speculation, silence preferred over reach. So if it's not true, I don't want even you can be silent about it. I don't want you to make anything up. When you're doing the comparative, non-negotiable restrictions, no moral judgments or present day prediction. And on the translation layer, non-negotiable restriction, no action without structural evidence. Everything has to be evident. So when we're building our startups, we're taking actions, but we're not taking them based on evidence, and we're making a big mistake. And the whole prompt begins with agent 0 on the, if you look to the left, and then it goes all the way over to agent 5. So there's 6 particular things. So yeah, it's just a powerful tool, in working with your business. So I won't belabor this. I'll just pull up the video here, and so you can kind of see what the deal is. And while you all are watching that, I'll let's see what we got here. Here it goes. So here's the strategic version of the video that explains how it works with founders.
Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to dig into a really powerful system, one that's designed to find what's true in a world just full of AI-generated noise. It's called the Historical Pattern Engine. So let's jump right into the big problem this thing was built to solve. I mean, we are all surrounded by AI that can spit out a perfect-sounding story about pretty much anything, right? And that creates a huge challenge. How do we figure out what's just a good story versus what's actually verifiably true? How do you separate what sounds plausible from what's actually a fact? And this is where things get really interesting, because the difference here isn't about which one is smarter. It's all about their primary goal. A standard AI, well, it's basically an engine of synthesis. It's built to create something that sounds right. But the HPE, that's an engine for validation. Its entire purpose is to prioritize what is actually provably true. So how does it pull this off? Well, it starts with something you could call a constitution for truth. And this isn't just, a suggestion. It's a hard-coded firewall that protects against our own biases and the AI's tendency to just make stuff up. And the very first rule of that constitution is super simple. And this quote just brilliantly lays out that core rule. The whole system is designed to fight that temptation we all have, and that AI definitely has, to jump straight to a clean, tidy narrative before you've done the messy, hard work of actually interrogating the facts. The entire system, really, exists to stop this one critical error: premature certainty. I mean, this is the root of everything from human confirmation bias to what we now call AI hallucinations. It's that gut feeling of, oh, I know the answer, before you've even finished asking all the questions. Okay, so to prevent that premature certainty, the system uses this really fascinating architecture. It's basically a thinking machine. And it's designed to, I love this phrase, industrialize rigor by forcing a very deliberate, slow, and structured process. Let's take a look at how it actually works. The whole thing is broken down into 6 distinct jobs, and each one is performed by a specialist agent. Seriously, think of it like an assembly line for truth. Each agent has one very specific task, and it cannot start its work until the agent before it is completely finished. This structure makes a leap of logic just physically impossible. So the absolutely crucial point here is that each agent has incredibly strict boundaries. Just look at Agent 0, the validator. It has absolute override authority, and its only question is this a validated fact? It is totally forbidden from speculating. Now compare that to the very last agent, the architect. It can only present what's already been approved. It is explicitly forbidden from adding any new spin or embellishing the narrative. But here's the thing. This super rigorous process isn't just for understanding the past. It actually evolved into a powerful strategic engine for shaping the future. And this is the pivot from, so what happened, to, okay, what do we do now? And this is where it gets really, really interesting. And this slide just shows that pivot perfectly. The system moves from simply asking what is true to asking the much more practical question, okay, given what's true, what should we do next? It's a huge shift from pure research to applied strategy. And that shift from research to strategy, well, it results in real, concrete, actionable stuff. We're not talking about academic papers here. We're talking about implementation blueprints, messaging assets, risk reports, actual tools designed for founders, for policymakers, for leaders. It's all about turning historical insight into real-world experiments that you can actually test. This evolution from a research tool to a strategy tool, it led to a really profound insight. The real value of the HPE isn't just the reports it kicks out. The real product, it's something way more fundamental. This quote absolutely nails it. The HPE isn't just a history tool. It's a decision shield. Think of it like a firewall that protects your strategy from being built on flimsy narratives, or popular vibes, or, just the loudest opinion in the meeting room. And that insight led to this idea of a hybrid HPE. So now it moves beyond a simple linear process, research first, then strategy, and it becomes a continuous feedback loop. Your strategy informs new research questions, and the results from your strategic actions, they generate new data that refines your confidence in these patterns in real time. So, the critical outcome of this hybrid model is something incredibly rare and incredibly valuable, an institutional pattern memory. I mean, think about that. It's a structured record of what your organization has tried, what worked, what failed, and most importantly, why. It's a memory that outlives any single employee, any single leader. So why does all this matter? Well, the HPE, in its final, hybrid form, is way more than just a tool. It's basically a new operating system for thinking. It's designed to create authority without just being aggressive, to build systems that outlive personalities, and to make decisions based on structured, long-term evidence instead of just a good story. And that is our explainer on the historical pattern engine. It leaves us with a really powerful question, one that's definitely worth thinking about. If you or your team had a perfect, totally unbiased memory of what truly works, what would you decide to do differently tomorrow?
Right. What do you think? What do you think? Would that be useful to you with your startup if you had a tool like that to kind of help you move forward? Yeah, I'm looking forward. And so when you enter our Founders Insight program, you get access to these prompts and to help you move forward with what you're doing. So I think this is really a really powerful prompt, especially one that helps you design experiments to kind of make sure what you to validate moving forward. So it's really exciting. So any comments or questions on that? I'd love to kind of entertain that. I'm going to take a slight breaking, we'll come back to this. I just kind of want to show you something that I think some people will be surprised, um, how you can use these AI tools to help you understand history. So let's see what we got here. Where is okay? Add this to the screen here. Get rid of this one. Add this one. Okay. So when you so people do their ancestry, and so this is kind of the third leg of this conversation. How can you leverage, AI to help you understand your ancestry? And so so we have and back in 2021, I did the African ancestry and found out on my paternal side, my father's side, his ancestry was from Cameroon, and and found out from my mother's side, the maternal side, they were from Cameroon as well, but my father's side was the Bimileke people, and my mother's side was the Takara people. But I got this document from Ancestry.com, and it had my DNA listed in it. So I'm looking at it. I don't know what any of those things mean. So I took that document and I dumped it into Notebook LM. So I just use it as a source in Notebook LM. So I'll show you what that is, and I'll bring this back up. So I did some historical research, but this is the document right here I dumped in there. It was just a one, I think it was 3 pages, but from that 3-page thing, I was able to get. Let me get back down here and find it. Let's see. Is this it? Let's see. So nope, that's a different one. I think this one was from my some of my results from Ancestry.com. So, and I didn't understand those reports I got from Ancestry.com either. So let me get down here and find my paternal side again here. So this was, and I think I did this. Looks like it's been 3 months ago. But so what I found when I dumped that report in there, it identified this part of my DNA here, this haplogroup, this thing here. But what it showed me was that that one particular strand of DNA had been passed down for thousands of years, and that DNA strain had not been broken. So it just told the story of my ancestry, and to me that was like, really powerful, using AI to help understand history, and so this one part of my DNA, it's like tens of thousands of years, until me now, and I passed it to my sons. Only the father can pass it to their sons. And so my youngest son, he had a boy, and a baby boy 3 months ago. His wife did, and so now that strand of DNA continues. And the same thing on my older sister did it on my mother's side, because the mother passed a gene down to the daughters, and the daughters passed down to the son, but the son can't pass it down. And so using a simple tool like Notebook LM, you can understand your history. And so that's another way you can leverage the AI to understand history. I hope that's really helpful. And I can tell you point blank from traveling to Cameroon, the translator we had on the tour over there, and when I said, you look just like my mother. And this was before I know my mother's thing was from on DNA. So I had my wife Robin send me a picture of my mother, text me a picture of my mother, and I showed it to her, and the lady said, this is a picture of my grandmother. And so so what's also amazing is all the mannerisms, from all those centuries. The folks over there can look at me and tell which tribe just because of my mannerism and how I look. So that's how, using AI to kind of help you understand history. So that, I hope that was insightful. So with the Ancestry.com, you don't get all this information, but you do get the people that's most likely related to you, whether it's a brother or sister, a half brother, a half sister, and a nephew or half nephew or whatever. But there's one of the things in there. So if you take all those, copy as many pages of that as you can and dump it in the Notebook LM, then it'll actually help you understand your ancestry from that particular thing that Ancestry.com uses. So AI can be used to understand history, and it could literally help you with what you're doing here. So let me get rid of this, and I'll share one more video with you. And this particular video. Let me find it so we can kind of move on. And I hadn't had a chance to edit this one, but so what I did was I created and so as you all see, I'm using Notebook LM. So that's my favorite tool over the past 2 years, because you can create audio overviews, slide decks, video overviews, mind maps, reports. So like I'll click this just so you can see what this is as well, in case you hadn't started using it. So it's generated based on the document. So these are some standard reports, things you can get, but just based on the sources that are uploaded, it's actually suggesting some reports, governance framework, analytical report, conceptual overview. So that's there. And these, so you see, it also has the, let's see what else we got here. We got, if a student can get flashcard quizzes, infographics, that's how I created those infographics. But you can also prompt, tell it what you want. The infographic, you can also upload sources that's got your brand or characters, and it'll put that in there as well. Then it's got the data tables, so you can actually get a data table of all the information. So that's very useful as well. My favorite tool in here is the audio, because I like having conversations to kind of help me understand what's going on a lot better. And I created this notebook a while back, but I wanted to create some video, so I added some more material in there. So I'm going to show you all one more video here. So it's a hybrid version where you combine the historical research HPE with the strategic one. So the 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 basic HPE is for just doing research. The uh, the strategic HPE is for your startup or business. Whether it's a startup or business, it doesn't really matter. And then the hybrid, which combines the both of them, it's just a whole nother level of understanding. So I'll go ahead and show you that video. Let's bring it up here and share. Got the screen share. So it's a hybrid of that. So let's pull that up. I hadn't had a chance to edit. Fantastic, fantastic. Let me get rid of that. Let's see, I'm gonna put this over here. So I promised you all the prompt and at least the research version of the prompt. And for those of you all that were part of our Founders Insight program, we'll make sure you get access to at least the strategic version of the prompt. So we'll go, I'll just scroll down through it just so you kind of see what it is. And so the bottom line is it's got 6 different agents in this version of it, and also the strategic version, but the hybrid version has 7 agents built into the prompt. And so, and let me go ahead and put the, let's see. And what you have to do with this particular prompt, you have to run it in the deep research mode. You don't have to, but if you want to if you want to get the best results, you run it in a deep research mode. And like I've said in the past, for stuff like this, Claude does give better results in the deep research mode. But what I do is I run it in same prompt in ChatGPT, same prompt in Claude, same prompt in Gemini, same prompt in LeChat, same prompt in Perplexity. Now, when you get the results, if they should be already fact checked, but if you don't think they're fact checked, you can take the results and paste it in Perplexity and say, please fact check this following information. And that's another thing that you can do. So here's I've just put the prompt in the chat for this one I'm showing on the screen here. So let's just scroll down. Let's see what we got here. So it's got some rules that it has to follow, and it's got the operational flow through the agents we were just talking about. And so, like I said, when I first created the prompt, it wanted me to go out and do the research and then provide the research to the agent. And I said, no, I don't want to do that, even though you can use that version of the prompt if you already have a document and you want to fact check and run it through the engine. And so that's a good thing you can do. So this agent R0, better known as Agent Zero, it's really the workhorse and like I said, the funny story behind this was my wife is a researcher and she loves, doing historical research. She'll stay up all night, researching all the newspapers, researching ancestry, and she just loved it. And right now, I think she's working on some Black history information for the local movement for change organization, and she's been participating every Thursday in a broadcast with WBQP TV and doing the research, sharing research. She also with local Channel 3, which is part of a national TV thing, and as a part of the America 250 anniversary this year, they featured one of the research projects and interviewed Robin for that about the Viola Edwards Hospital. And I guess I can probably find a link to that for anybody who's interested. But it's on YouTube, so you can maybe Google Viola Edwards and you'll get a chance to see it. But so she's been so busy this much that she actually lost her voice, and so it finally came back, and she's still at it. it's just not nonstop. But I've been doing research with AI, and occasionally I'll let her listen to some of the stuff, and she, she has a positive and negative feedback, and so it finally dawned on me that I probably should, consider creating an agent, to actually do research as a historian would do it, and that's where this was actually born. So it looks at all these different sources and does a counter narrative. So this Agent Zero is really powerful. It's like the video said, it's the Supreme Court. Then you get to Agent One. It kind of puts everything in chronological order. That develops all that information, and then Agent R2 for the research. It's the mechanism extraction. So there's these things here, and supporting evidence, competing explanation, and then Agent 3 R3 for doing the research. It's looking at the patterns, and so it's documenting all of this stuff. Talk about detail, and did I skip Agent 4? What Agent 4 does here? So it's the counterfactual contingency analysis. Yeah. So so if you try this prompt in the deep research mode on your favorite subject or just something you're curious about, and then Agent 5, generates the report. And so that's pretty, and that's it. So so let me know how that works, and just so how you actually use it is if I were you, I would take that link, download this, so you can make a copy of it, and then you can download it as a PDF from the Google Drive, from Google or whatever, and then in ChatGPT, whichever one you use, you would just attach that and then do a prompt that please perform deep research on the following topic, based and using the attached prompt. And as long as you check it for deep research mode, that's pretty much all you need to run it. And so what I do next is I take the results. Let's see if I can get this. I take the results and I go and I literally come into Notebook LM and just start and either copy and paste the results in here or download the results into a document and add them as a source, because just upload. If you download it as a PDF, you can just do this to add it that way. So let's see. Yeah, I was just looking at some of this stuff. So I don't know if it'll do a video. This is a video of a community event that we had this weekend. Let's see if it'll take the MP4 file and it's 1.8 gig. Let's just see if it'll do that. I'm curious. Oh, they only want to go 200 gig on that. So you definitely got to do some serious compression on that. But that's literally what you do to upload your sources. And let me go back to the one that over here. Yeah, and I guess in a couple of weeks I'll let you all. Yeah, it's pretty neat. So I use this HPE for a lot of things. But like I said, that's what I did. So all of these documents, um, so and here what I did was I took the actual prompts and 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 uploaded them as sources, but I also ran the analysis on analyzed the prompts, just to make sure they were good. And I took and that's what this Lanika verbose discovery framework is all about. So it literally analyzed the prompt and and to make sure that they're so you can extract all the good stuff out of them and the bad stuff out of them. So yeah, so just in case you didn't understand how to use Notebook LM, but it's a lifesaver as far as learning and understanding. Take any complex thing and do it. So we over time here, but I just thought about one of these. I'm see if I can find this. One other thing just to show you how powerful it is. You can see, let's see, patterns. See if I can, okay. No, let's see if I can, let's see if I can find one. No, that's not it. I was at a conference last in October, and I took one chart from this thing. Let's see if I can find it real quick here. Just bear with me. I apologize. You can see all these different notebooks I have here. Let's see. Oh, going too fast. But anyway, it was just one graph, and I uploaded it, and it was about all the stuff that the government had did to support equity for Black people, and all the things the government had did to take away. And it was a chart that let's see if I can find it. So yeah, I can see I can even do this historical. Here it is. Fantastic. Okay, so this one document and so it was just a picture I took, and back then you couldn't upload a picture, so I turned it into a PDF. Let's see, let me see what I can do to just show you how powerful this is. Let's see. I'm trying to get it to show this one. Yeah, so here's a picture in the lower corner here. So this is the only thing I uploaded here. And then if you come over here, I did a little infographic. Let's see what the infographic looks like. And this is a history thing as well. So it's showing how all the government did to kind of boost the support for Black people, and all the things the government did to block it. So it just reconstructed that. This is how AI. This is how I use AI to kind of help me learn and understand history. And I'm going to take liberty here, and then I'll let you all go. If, just a couple of y'all are still hanging in there. So this is a good example for Black history. So I'm gonna go ahead and show this just to show you, so you can better understand history. And I fact checked all the stuff that was on that graph. So I'm gonna play this. So that is, let's see. Yep. So I hope that was helpful, but you can see how leveraging AI, it can actually help you understand history a lot better. Uh, yeah, yeah, it's just, and that's that one chart. I can literally tell you how it happened. I'm sitting listening to a briefing, and this one slide comes up. I use my phone to take a picture of it, and then I just upload it to Notebook LM, and you see what I got. So I'm way over time, but as you can tell tonight, I'm really excited about leveraging AI for history and also to learn these patterns and so you can know what the playbooks are and know what playbook you should be using to be successful as an individual, successful as a startup. If you don't understand the world you live in, it's going to be kind of hard to be successful. So leverage these tools to help you move forward. And forgive me for taking a little extra time. And happy Black History Month. I hope it was fun for you. As you can see, it wore me out and wore my wife out, but we love what we're doing and we love supporting founders. So y'all, we'll see y'all next week, and I'm hoping to have Visa Peterson on next week. She's Microtron. She's launched all of her products and stuff. And so if you're a founder and you need some tools to build AI agents, you don't need to know how to code or anything. You need to some training stuff. She's got it all for you in Microtron AI. So look forward to seeing you all next week. Y'all take care, and we'll go ahead and end the stream now. Bye-bye, everyone.